Good evening. We're here to give you a briefing on an officer-involved shooting that occurred earlier this evening. Introduce a few of the folks here with me today. I have Assistant City Manager Ray Ariano. I have Farah Muscadin from the Office of Police Oversight, and Dexter Guilford from the District Attorney's Office along with his team, and members of my executive team and legal team as well. This incident began earlier in the evening, and the initial call came in at 5:11 p.m. in the 5200 block of 360 directly behind us. A caller reported that there was a crash involving motor vehicles. We started then getting multiple calls from multiple witnesses. We got a call stating that there was a victim that had been hit by a vehicle. We got license plates of vehicles involved. We then began getting calls that there was a female that had been pushed to the ground and was being pinned on the ground. Again, all of this taking place around 5:12 p.m. At 5:13 p.m., a caller called in and gave a description of what had happened, stating that there had been a vehicle that turned around and went northbound in the southbound lanes of 360, crashing into another vehicle. That caller also stated that at 5:13, the subject that was driving the vehicle that caused the crash fled the scene. We started getting multiple calls about a subject running from the scene, and again, callers talking about a female that had been injured and was on the ground. We also got a call at this point from a family member stating they had got a call from their relative that was at this location stating that she had been stabbed. We got a call at 5:15 from AFD letting us know that the suspect was believed to be in the woods at that time. And again, in the interceding minutes, we started getting calls from other officers letting us know that the subject had run, that the subject was down here in this boat area, and ultimately the suspect was located in the woods behind us. The first APD officer arrived on scene at 5:18 and started getting reports from other witnesses, reports that maybe the suspect had been detained by civilians, and the callers were letting the officers know they could see where they were, trying to direct them in to where this was taking place. We paged for our air unit to come out along with our canine unit so that we could try and locate the suspect that fled the scene from that crash. At 5:51, we then started getting calls informing us that the suspect in this incident was texting his stepdaughter, letting him know that her mother was okay, but that he was going to be killed by officers tonight. At 6:03 p.m., the female victim from the crash that occurred and the one that was being pinned on the ground arrived at the hospital. And we then started getting more calls and officers responding on scene. What we ultimately had was at 6:21 p.m., our officers reported that shots had been fired, and at 6:35 p.m., CPR was in progress. The suspect in this incident was transported to a local area hospital where he was pronounced deceased from the injuries he sustained in this incident. The female victim that was assaulted and was hit by the vehicle up on the road is currently in the hospital. She is in serious condition. However, it is non-life threatening. This incident was captured on both officers' body-worn cameras, and there have been a few videos that are on social media which help us piece together what has happened. All of this information is preliminary, but what we believe and have pieced together so far is that there was some sort of a disturbance between the suspect and the female victim in his vehicle that led to these incidents here today. She got out of the vehicle and was running along 360 and got in another vehicle in an attempt to get away from the suspect. The suspect's vehicle can be seen on one of these videos driving northbound in the southbound lanes, crashing head-on into that vehicle. On that video, it also shows our victim running from that vehicle, trying to get the aid of other drivers that are all coming to a pretty quick stop given the crash that had just happened. The suspect can then be seen running back into the video frame. He picks up the victim and he's carrying her back off to the side of the road, and then it's off the frame of the video. You cannot see anymore. What we believe at that point is multiple people can be seen getting out of their vehicles heading in the direction to come to the aid of that female. We believe this is when the suspect fled the scene on foot. When our officers arrived, again, they had called for air support and for canine. The canine officer was able to track the suspect both down the bridge, ultimately into the woods behind us where he was located. Watching the body-worn cameras from both officers that were involved in this incident, one officer was a canine officer, the other officer was a patrol officer. We can see them come to this wooded area behind us. It's difficult to see in the brush because it's very thick, but they're immediately giving commands to a subject, yelling, drop the weapon, drop the gun. What can be heard on that video is the voice coming back from the woods yelling, I have a gun, I will shoot you. There are multiple commands from the officers to drop the weapon, and there are more than one voice coming out of the wood. There's multiple comments coming from the suspect in the woods about having a gun and about shooting at the officers. The officers can then be seen on their body-worn cameras firing their weapons and again giving commands to the suspect. That suspect again was transported to the hospital where he succumbed to his injuries. The individual that is deceased is we believe at this point is a 45-year of age Hispanic male. The female involved in this incident is a 44-year of age Hispanic female. And preliminary information, we believe that they are married. However, this is the early steps of this investigation and there's a lot that still needs to be done. The officers involved in this incident, a 4-year officer on patrol and a 7-year officer, member of our canine team. Both of these officers will be placed on administrative duty while we conduct the required investigations. As is our standard protocol, there will be an administrative investigation conducted by the Austin Police Department Internal Affairs Division with oversight from the Office of Police Oversight. There will also be a concurrent criminal investigation conducted by our Special Investigations Unit with the oversight of the Travis County District Attorney's Office. So this was, as you can tell, a very dynamic scene that took place over a series of over an hour, starting with some type of an assault in a vehicle that led to a crash, that led to a pursuit, foot pursuit, and ultimately ended in an officer-involved shooting here behind us. There's a lot of work that still needs to be done. The area where this incident happened is in the very dense tree line behind us, and with it being nightfall already, there's not a lot more that we'll be able to do as far as processing the scene. We do not know yet at this point whether we will locate a weapon in the scene behind us once we have the ability to get in there and search. But there's a lot of work that will happen both tonight and then again in the morning when the sun comes up and we have the opportunity to look at this scene in daylight. So again, all of this information is preliminary and there's not a lot more we can release at this time. However, I will now open it up for questions.
Chief Manley, do you know what caused the fight to begin with? Has any family shed any perspective?
We do not have any indication what led to the initial disturbance inside that vehicle. That will be part of the investigation once we have the opportunity to speak with the victim and see what she can fill us in on what was happening.
Chief Manley, we at KVUE and I believe a few other news stations have some video. I know you already kind of answered this question before. We have video of a man chasing a woman down the area that you stated before, and a separate video of that victim being pinned down. Are you able to confirm that that is related to what you have told us all tonight?
We believe that that video is related to this incident. We can't confirm that because, again, it's still an ongoing investigation. There is actually another video that we have seen online as well, and it is shot from under the bridge behind you all there, and it's a video that appears to be facing the direction of the wood line behind us where the incident happened, and you can hear what appear to be gunshots on that video. Again, we cannot confirm that that is actually the incident that transpired here today. However, it does appear to be related.
Do you know if this couple has a history of domestic disturbances?
Don't have any information on that yet. Again, we're in the early stages of the investigation.
Chief Manley, could you say how many shots were fired?
No, that's part of the ongoing investigation. I can say that one officer fired his pistol and another officer fired the patrol rifle.
How long will you all have this area blocked off?
As long as it takes, but we'll definitely have this area blocked off overnight and probably a good part of tomorrow as well. It's densely, the trees, the foliage back there, it's very dense, and we want to make sure that we have every opportunity to collect all the necessary evidence to put this all together.
Last question. Thank you
Thank you all very much.